Oh boy, today is a special day. A very special day. Don't know why I'm doing this hand gesture, but today is the master rank, possibly master rank 1 deck profile for the heroes themselves. This is why I'm wearing Superman, because Rescue Ace are heroes. Firefighters, as you can see on the screen, master rank 2 currently 1 game away from master 1, and we're gonna play that 1 game in this video. If we failed, then sadly, then it is what it is, but if we get it, then cool, we get to master rank 1 in this deck profile. I've been playing this deck for, well, since the beginning of the season, and I love it. Like, I absolutely love this deck. I mean, it has everything I want in a deck. It's consistent, it has monsters and back row interruptions, so it doesn't rely on just one type. For example, like Dark Ruler No More can ruin a field full of monsters, but we're still good. And Harpy's Feather Duster, yes, it does hurt this deck, but you still have cards like Preventer and Promethean Princess in the grave. Doesn't need the extra deck. So if Fuelas gets dropped on you, you could be like, okay, cool, fuck off, can OTK. And 5, one of the things that made me want to play this deck, the artwork and lore is just beautiful. So when I saw this deck for the first time, I was like, I had to play it. But the issue was it was when Snake Eyes was at full power, so this was pretty much like a tier 1 deck with Snake Eyes. And if you know this channel, I hate tier 1 decks. I need to play tier 3 or rogue tier, at most tier 2, but that's if I really love the archetype. So when this deck's hype fell, that was the time to pounce. But yeah, that's the backstory. Now, I guess it's time for the deck profile, right? Wrong. Before we get on to the deck profile, if you are new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button to be up to date with all my Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel content, like deck profiles and montages, or to be updated when I live stream. With that being said, let's get on with the deck profile. So usually what I do for my deck profiles, if you are new, I'll go through each individual card, explain why I'm using them. After the deck profile itself, I will show you 2 1-card combos, and at the end we will do a pros and cons for this deck. However, as mentioned in the beginning, we are 1 game away from master 1, so I'm also going to add that into this video. Okay, let's begin. 3 Effect Veiler. This card has changed so many times. It used to be 2 Effect Veiler and 1 Nibiru, 2 Effect Veiler and 1 Triple Tactics. Basically, it's always the 3rd one that's changed. Before Effect Veiler, it used to be Imperm. Well, I might just say now we don't play Imperm in this deck. It's because I was facing too many Tenpai Dragons, and I obviously just setting all my traps, and they play Lightning Storm, Harpies, Heavy Storm. It was just frustrating every time they would destroy the back row, including the Imperm. So I decided I don't want to rely everything on the back row. Yes, Effect Veiler can be hit by, called by, and it can activate a card like Triple Tactics, Thrust, or Talents, but sometimes it's worth the risk. Now for the 3rd Veiler, I've switched so many times, but I've decided to stick with Effect Veiler. Nibiru's just inconsistent for me. There's times when you'll go against Labyrinth or Voiceless Voice, even Branded, and they don't go through 5 summons. And even if you do face an opponent who does special summon like crazy, if the opponent plays around Nibiru, like putting a negating monster on the field before you're able to summon Nibiru, Nibiru's useless. Again, I just don't like the inconsistency. Obviously when Nibiru goes off, it's amazing, but I just feel like maybe out of 10 games, if I had it in my hand, only like 3 of those matches it'll go off. It's not worth it. While Effect Veiler, I would say like 8 out of 10 times it goes off. 2 Rescue Hydrant, don't think you need 3. Could be Cloggy. This isn't really, well, this card isn't actually a 1-card starter. You'd think it is, but no, it's not. This is usually the card you want to search or special summon with Rescue Ace Emergency. So 2 is the magic number in my opinion. 1, nah, it's not good in my opinion, especially with some of the cards you can play in this deck. The Snake Eyes package, if you draw Hydrant, then the whole Snake Eyes package is pretty much useless at that point. Plus, if something happened like it got banished face down, you know, your traps are pretty much, well, they lose their value. So yeah, no way. 1 Snake Eyes Poplar, the Snake Eyes package. This is one of your 1-card combos if you open up with Bonfire. If you don't open up with Bonfire, then this is pretty much another Hydrant. You can make things, but yeah, it's not going to be an optimal board. 3 Max C, however, as it's been confirmed the other day, it is now getting semi-limited. So I will say now, once this goes to 2, I'm going to replace the third maxi with a Nibiru. I don't want it in my hand. It's a card that I would rather draw if my opponent tries to do the maxi or Fuelas challenge. That's the only time I want to see Nibiru, not in my opening hand. However, if Impulse, the trap card, gets released in February, that is 100% going into this deck at 3. 1 Ghost Ogre, love this card. I've said it so many times. I feel like this card is so good in current Yu-Gi-Oh! It stops so many of the top tier decks. You know, Yubel's continuous spells, Tenpai Dragons field, Fire Kings field, Centaurians when they try to special summon themselves or their field. Basically a lot of fields. These days in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of decks either have a powerful field spell or a powerful continuous spell card, and Ghost Ogre just says no. So I play it at 1. I used to play at 2, but now with Fuelas, you don't really want to draw into 2 ogres because you can only use once per turn. If you could use 2 though, I would play it at 2. But since it's once per turn, I would rather not draw 2. 3 Ash, I mean, it's the best hand trap besides from Maxi. But then again, this is generic. It can usually hit any single deck, while Maxi's kind of trash against some decks. 1 Ghost Spell, I'm really liking this card. There are times against like Tenpai when they try to special summon from the graveyard, this stops it. Or the problem I was having against Labyrinth, it stops Big Welcome Labyrinth. This card is usually a extender negator. When there's a deck that wants to extend their combo and it's usually they need a card from the grave, this stops it. 2 Rescue Ace Impulse, I used to play this at 3, but again because of Fuelas, I feel like 2 is fine. If you have Fuelas or Maxi and you draw into this, it's just amazing because you pretty much get your starters. You go into Fire Engine, bring out Air Preventer, and there you go, you already have your starters. Oops, sorry, last card I said preventers, I meant airlifters. You go into this from Fire Engine. 2 airlifters, I mean, this is your 1 card combo. If we could play at 3, we would, but sadly it's at 2. Hopefully one day they bring it back to 3, but I think it'll be a while before then. 3 Fuelas, I mean, it's the new Maxi, but it's a balanced one. I think I really like the design of this card. It's trash going first, amazing going second. To me, it's a balanced Maxi. As mentioned, 1 Fire Engine. If you have Hydrant and this in hand, I love that because, yeah, you summon Hydrant, you get the special summon this. They can no longer target your Hydrant to negate. And yeah, it just protects you from any targeting effects. So that's always nice. And as I mentioned, with Impulse, this is usually the target I go for. Just because then he can set up the air lifter. 3 Diablo Star, another 1 card combo. So it's a must at 3. You want that consistency. 2 Rescue Ace Preventer. I love this card. The effects are so good. Easy to special summon from your banished area, and a Book of Moon. Powerful effect. Powerful because then they can no longer link XYZ, Synchro. It's just so good. I love this effect so much. And the last monster, Rescue Ace Turbulence, I only play at 1. Some people play at 2, but I just feel in Master Duel is perfect at 1. Of course, maybe at some point you're gonna finally face a deck that can banish this card face down like a Kashtira, or just somehow get rid of it. But even if they banish, there's ways to get it back with Preventer or your field spell. I just think 1's fine. I've never really had an issue where I was like, oh man, I wish I had a second Turbulence. Never. Now for the spells, 1 Rotor to get your Airlifter, 1 1-for-1, another 1 card starter. You bring out Hydrant, Hydrant searches out Airlifter, and you do the combo. 2 Bonfire. Honestly, this could be my favorite 1 card starter. I actually do think it is, because it's definitely better than Diablo Star, because you don't have to discard to special summon her. You just search out Poplar and boom, you get free special summon. So if you still needed a normal summon after, you can. I love this card when you have Airlift in your hand as well, because you can bait with the Bonfire or Poplar. If they have Ash or Imperm or something, then boom, you normal summon Airlifter. I love it. It is frustrating when you draw Poplar, but it can happen. 1 Sinful Spoils, you don't need more than that. You search it with Diablo Star or Poplar. This gets into your Hydrant and you do your plays from there. 1 Rescue Ace HQ. I really like this field. It recycles your spells and traps, gives you a draw. If your opponents banish your monsters, as I said with Turbulence, you can bring it back with this, and it gives you an extra normal summon, which can come in handy. And the extra 500 attack, trust me, it actually has come in handy. It sometimes forces your opponent to do a different play because they can't beat over your monster. Now, the hand trap protections, the 2 cooled buys, and the 1 cross out, as I said, does help against hand traps. This deck can play through multiple if you have a good opening hand for your engine, but you never can be too safe. 1 rescue, that's the special summon from your graveyard or your opponent's graveyard if you have Hydrant. 1 alert, your search card if you have Hydrant, or add back from your graveyard if you don't have him. 3 emergencies, I really like this card. It's not that good if you don't have a single rescue ace in your hand, but when you do, especially Airlift or Hydrant or something you can normal summon, you can bait out an Imperm or Veiler. Boom, you use emergency, you avoid that negation, and you still get the special summon and search. Also, its second effect actually has come in clutch. You banish this card and you can set a trap card from the graveyard. 1 wanted to search out your Diablo Star. This is nice to start with because then you get the extra draw when you use Diablo Star. 1 contain, this is where the traps are just so good. I mean, some decks may have 6, 7, 8 interruptions, and Rescue Ace might only end with like 3 or 4, like half, but the interruptions are so powerful. Like contain, you negate them, they can't attack, and if you have Hydrant on the field, they can't go into the extra deck. That card is just there, it's dead. I love this effect. The amount of times, if you use it at the right time, it's just so powerful. And extinguish, this one is those effects that activate in the graveyard. It just stops it. The U-Bells, Flamberge, any Fire King monster, it just says no. So there you go, that is the main deck. 45 cards. See, before Rescue Ace, I used to always want to be strict 40, but ever since playing this deck, 45 is still a solid number. It's consistent. Of course, there'll be times when you brick. Every deck will brick, even the most consistent ones, but majority of the time I feel like I do have a good hand, or it's playable at least. Now for the extra deck. 1 Baron. I didn't actually used to play this, but Diamond, here's a shout out, gave me this idea. You know, Diablo Star, let's say it gets negated and you have an Ash or Ogre in my hand, normal summon them, go into Baron. Hey, I mean, it's rarely ever gonna happen, but you never know, and I have the space. 1 Typhon, again, rarely go into it, but it's just there, just in case. You never know. It's easy to summon, so why not? 1 Link Karibo, always go into this after Hydrant. It's just, it can dodge Veilers and Imperms if this is in a graveyard. And in case you wanted to like use SP Little Knights banish effect, the first one, you know, go Link Karibo, and if there's another monster on field, you go into SP Little Knight and boom, you can banish. 1 Anima, love it when my opponent forgets to put their monster on either the sides or the middle, and I just steal it. So again, another target for Poplar or Hydrant. 1 Nightmare Phoenix, just in case you need to pop back row. I usually go into SP Little Knight, but you know, just in case you couldn't go into like a Link Karibo Anima and you had to pop a back row, you know, he's just there for that. 1 Fire Charmer, you're playing all fires, or mostly fires, why not? And of course, Ash is like the best hand trap, or second best, so usually they're going to be in the grave. 1 Dark Charmer, this is for Diablo Star, or if you go into Link Karibo, you have a dark monster, so you could go into this if your opponent's playing dark monsters. 2 SP Little Knight, usually you use 1 to protect Turbulence, so he can set the 4 traps and spells in case they have an Imperm or a Veiler. You can dodge it then. So usually, yeah, 1 is wasted for that, and then the second one is in case you want to go into it like when you're battling your opponent. 1 Promethean Princess, love this card, it's so good, so powerful. If you're playing a fire deck, you usually will play this, it's just so good. 1 Amber Well, this goes with Promethean Princess. This combo has been out for a long time now. 1 Access Code Talker, in case you're going up against like a Dragoon, for example, where you can't target him. Well, actually, don't care about that, you can just beat over him. Or if there are cards that can't be targeted but can be destroyed, then you can pop with Access Code Talker. Zealantis, this is for the OTK, I might as well just show them all. Zealantis and Phoenix, Raging Phoenix. It's the whole combo, OTK, love it, it's so powerful. And the last card, Underworld Goddess. I usually play her because, you know, she's a royal. I feel like I have to play her, but she can also get rid of cards in case you are struggling to get rid of a card that if it couldn't get destroyed, targeted and whatnot, this can out it. There you have it. That is the deck profile. I hope you've learned something with the deck. As I said, I've played this for a whole month. I know that's not that much time, but trust me, I've banged it out. I've watched videos, I've researched it. I love this deck. This is definitely one of my all-time favorites. It's up there with Burning Abyss. Like, as I mentioned in the beginning, it has so many things I love about a deck. It ticks them all. I can see myself maining this deck for a very long time. Like, as long as they don't ban the Snake Eyes cards, I don't mind if they limit them, because I'm only playing 1 of like Original Sinful. But if they, like, for example, ban that card or ban Poplar, this deck would struggle. That's a heavy hit on the consistency. Even if they brought Airlifter to 3, that's still a massive hit. So hopefully they don't go that far. I don't mind limits, but please don't ban. And this deck will only get stronger with the new trap cards like Impulse. Impulse is going to be amazing. I feel like we can finally fight against Tenpai Dragons much better, because then if they try to use their quick spell, you can negate it. You don't need just Ash anymore. To be honest, I might as well just say the pros and cons now. And I already pretty much said the pros. Again, it is consistent. The deck has 10 1-card starters, I believe, 2 Airlifters, 2 Bonfires, 3 Diablo Star, 1 Rotor, that's 8, 1 1-for-1, that's 9, and 1 Wanted. 10 starters out of 45, and so many extenders. Like, honestly, if you open up a Hydrant and Preventer, you can definitely, as long as your Hydrant doesn't get negated, you can definitely set up your Turbulence and its cards in the back row. Or if you have Emergency with any rescue ace, you can get your monsters onto the field. So yeah, there's so many extenders and a good amount of 1-card combos. It can play a good amount of hand traps. As you can see, I play 16 because I do count Impulse, because that can set you up for your turn. But even if you don't count that, that's 14 hand traps. That's a good amount. Most likely going to open with 1 or 2 in your hand. As mentioned, if you get Maxide or Fuelas, you can just end with a Turbulence and your back row. Of course, it's not the greatest field, but at the same time, it's still powerful. You can still, well, you have 1, 2 minimum interruptions. And if you have a Hydrant, you can technically have a cooled by. You're not banishing their graveyard, but you can, like, if they needed a certain monster in the graveyard, you can steal it from them and interruption. As I shown, Zealantis and Raging Phoenix, you can OTK very easily with this deck. I'm so surprised when I see tier lists and they put this deck at like rogue tier. I truly believe this is at least tier 3. I mean, it's so hard to beat. As I said, yeah, if you get your full combo, you usually have 4 or 5 interruptions, but they're not weak interruptions. They're powerful that just stop your monster from being used. Like I said, a Book of Moon, Contain, Extinguish. Those 3 alone are powerful. And Promethean Princess, to pop a special summon monster. These are effects that get your opponent's monster off the field. Like, these aren't just a simple effect Veiler or Imperman. They can still go into something with that monster on the field. No, the traps and monster effects we have just stop their monster completely. Like, they're off the field or just can't be used. Powerful, powerful interruptions. Yeah, I think those are the pros. I've probably missed 1 or 2, but the ones I have mentioned make this deck, as I just said, tier 3 in my opinion, like minimum. It's underrated again because people are saying it's rogue tier, but hey, listen, it works out for me because that means either people are going to underestimate this deck and not play it, meaning it won't get hit, so that's good, and people won't expect it on ranked. Now, this is going to be kind of contradicting myself for one of the cons. I said it's consistent, but at the same time, when it has a bad hand, it's bad, because if you have something like Preventer and Turbulence in hand with a bunch of, like, I don't know, Rescue and Alert, there's nothing really you can do. Opening up the cards you don't want to open up with are your quick spells, Rescue, Alert, Contain, Extinguish, or open up Popular, even though you can still play with Popular, to be fair. But there's cards in this deck that you just don't want to open, but you're most likely gonna open at least one of them. Yeah, so there's a lot of them. There's a lot of 1 cards you would rather search or set from the deck, and when you open them up, you're like, oh, that's 1 less card basically in my opening hand. The really bad ones, as I said, Popular's not really bad, it's just bad, but the really bad ones are Extinguish, Contain, Rescue. But I would say those 3 I really don't want to open, like, at all. Like, there's no hand when I see them 3, or at least one of them, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I have this. Like, no, there's no hand. I mean, yes, technically you could be like, oh, what happens if you open up Hydrant? You can then set one of those trap cards. But I mean, again, it's not optimal. You don't want that shit. At least with Popular, you can go into some extra deck monsters and get Hydrant out and blah, blah, blah. But those 3 I've mentioned, they really are just useless in your hand. Another con is because Tenpai Dragons are still relevant right now. Some say tier 1, some say tier 2. In my opinion, they're tier 1 because this is still a best of 1 format. So most of the time they're gonna go second, and they have a bunch of going second cards. And especially against Rescue Ace, it's devastating. As I said earlier in the video, they have Lightning Storms, Harpies, Heavy Storms. So if they destroy our back row, yes, we do have monster effects that we can still use, but if they open up their field spell or search it, yeah, at that point, unless we have some sort of hand trap to help in the battle phase, like a ghost spell, or if your opponent misplays, we're probably gonna lose. And because Tempai Dragons are so easy to play, you're gonna face a lot of them. But honestly, apart from that, just the opening dead cards and facing decks you're weak against, I really can't think of anything else. That's why I'm still shocked that this deck is so underrated. Unless people these days say you need 15 one-card combos, that's to be a good deck. I feel like 10's a good amount. Of course, it's not gonna be as consistent as Fire Kings or the tier 1 decks. It's got a good amount of one-card combos and extenders if needed. Oh, actually, another con. It doesn't really have back row removal itself. I mean, you could put in a Harpies if you wanted, but yeah, not that many people will play a Harpies because it's not really a back row format. And if you draw into it in your opening hand and you're going first, or if you're going second and your opponent has no back row, Harpies is dead. No one really plays it apart from going second decks. So if your opponent is playing like stun or have a bunch of like Yubel cards, their continuous spells and fields and all that stuff, it's hard to get rid of. You know, like the only cards really you could go into are Phoenix, SP Little Knight, or if you can get the Zealantis combo going, you can then pop their back row there. But you basically have to go through a lot of your materials, your monsters and cards to make that work, while other decks can pop them quite easy or avoid them and things like that. So it definitely struggles to back row. That's why, even though it's considered to go evens with Lab, I don't like going against them, because once they start setting up, I just, when I see like a set 3 or 4 in the back, I'm like, oh man, my trap cards aren't going to do anything to that. Again, I would have to rely on my extra deck to do something. So yes, I would say those are the pros and the cons. Now, this was a long one. I really didn't think it'd be this long, but hey, I'm trying to give you as much information as possible. So if anyone else wants to play this deck, or if you're a returning player and you want to get back into Rescue Ace, I hope this helps. Now, let's get on with the one-card combos. There is 2. One is with Airlifter and the other is with either Diablo Star, Wanted, or Bonfire. But the Bonfire and Diablo Star are pretty much the same thing, because you basically have to get original Sinful Spoils, while Airlifter is actually a different combo. So yes, I'm gonna do those 2, and then we'll see that one match if we can get into Master 1 in this video. Alright, this is a pretty funny one because I can do either Bonfire or Airlifter. Because there's more of the Snake Eyes cards in this deck, let's go with Airlifter first. So, I don't know if I'm going to speed this up or not, but we'll see. Okay, so we get Airlifter. Normal summon Airlifter. Search out, turn it off. Search out Emergency. Use Emergency to special summon Hydrant. Tribute Airlifter. Now search out Turbulence. Of course, if we had, for example, Preventer in hand or Alert in hand, we would search out to Preventer or special summon Preventer before all of this, so we could stop opponents from targeting Hydrant to do the effect. But of course, this is only one card combos, so yeah, we're not doing that. Special summon Turbulence. Again, if we had cards like Preventer to special summon onto the field, we could protect Turbulence with the SP Little Knight, as I told you, the reason why I'm playing 2. So now we set all of this. Now Alert, we use Alert to search Preventer. Now, don't use Preventer to banish Alert. Instead, go into Link Karibo. And now banish Link, no, not Link Karibo, sorry. Banish Hydrant with Preventer. So, when you go into, you could go straight into Promethean Princess, it doesn't matter. Preventer will special summon Hydrant. So make sure do not use Preventer with alert, but instead go into Link Rebo and then banish the Hydrant. Special summon. Doesn't matter, they're both going into grave again. And we end with Amber Whale. So there you have it. With just one airlifter, we've got Promethean Princess in the grave, popping the Amber Whale, and that could possibly be another pop if they destroy the Promethean by, like, you know, destruction or battle. And we've got two powerful trap cards, and we could technically use Rescue to disrupt their graveyard, but most likely we'll use it to bring back Preventer. So that's a Book of Moon. So Book of Moon, two trap cards contain an Extinguish and Promethean, 4, potentially 5 of Amber Whale, but let's just say 4 for now. Forget the hand, we're just saying what's on the field and in the grave. 4 interruptions with just 1 card, and as I mentioned in the deck profile, powerful interruptions. They're not just as simple as a Veil or an Imperm. Nope, they prevent their player, or they prevent the player you're going against from using that card pretty much for the remaining of the round, or turn. And as I said, let's say they did have Harpies, it would suck to lose 2 interruptions, but we could then use Rescue to bring back Preventer, and we still technically have 2 interruptions there, and then whatever's in your hand. Okay, so now here's the second 1-card combo. It's annoying we have the original Sin in our hand, but is what it is. Bonfire, as I told you, this is probably my favorite 1-card starter, just because we don't waste our normal summon. So we special summon Poplar. Of course, a Poplar we would have liked to search out original Sinful, but we have it in our hand. Go into Link Rebo. Use Poplar's effect. Oh, turn that off, it's just long. Now use Sinful Spoil on Poplar. Bring out Hydrant. Now, technically, at this point, you could go into Turbulence straight away, because the Turbulence, you could go Hydrant into Link Rebo, bring out SP, protect Turbulence, set the back row, then go into Promethean. Promethean can then bring out Hydrant, use then Alert to go into Preventer and bring out Preventer, and you get the exact same board basically. Or you could get Airlifter, which we're gonna do. This basically just gets more bodies into your graveyard, onto the field. Get Airlifter. Normal summon Airlifter. Get Emergency. Use Emergency. Special summon Turbulence. Now get rid of Lifter. Use Turbulence's effect. Oh, sorry, I was rushing, but yeah, before you use Turbulence effect, sorry, go into SP Little Knight. I was just rushing for this combo. Yeah, don't rush. Make sure to go into SP Little Knight to protect yourself from a Veiler or an Imperm. Now, we're not going to use the Alert because, as I said, we would have went into SP Little Knight. So I'm going to just do it how it would have been. So this is what it would have been. Then go into Promethean. Promethean brings back Hydrant. Now use Alert. Get Preventer. Preventer, banish your Turbulence. Now go into Amber Whale. So you get the better end board, because even though we have the same set and the same graveyard, we actually get an extra body of Turbulence onto the field, which is a potential another interruption. Because if your opponent destroys, is it just destroy or leave? Okay, no, sorry, it's a leave. If your opponent like gets rid of one of your cards on the field, by card effect, you get to destroy one of their cards, but obviously targeting. But yeah, so this is the better end board, and this protects Hydran from getting targeted. I don't know why they would target him on the next turn, but you never know. Maybe they want to take control or something. At least they can't target him. But there you go. Next turn again, we have Rescue to bring back Preventer, and it's the same, except we got Turbulence on the field now. There you go. There are the 1-card combos. We've done the deck profile, we've done the pros and cons, and now we've done the 1-card combos. Now we're gonna do the 1 duel for this video. Win or lose, it will be just 1 duel. I hope we can get to Master 1 in this video. It would make this ending epic, but if we don't, we don't. We are currently on a 6-win streak in Master 2, starting from Master 3. As it shows, like, it's a very powerful deck, getting 6-win streak in Master 2. Just in case people think, oh no, I must have been using a different deck to get that. Well, these are my Master 2 wins. I'll save the replays, and then I'll just delete them, just to show you. I'm not calling anyone out. I mean, I don't take notice of the names, but I know whenever I go, for example, on Master Duel Meta and I check out these decks, like decks I want to try out in the future, and I'm seeing them at like Master 1, I'm like, how is this deck in Master 1? It's a trash deck, for example, like Orchestral, and they don't really give an explanation of how it got there. Look, I could technically be wrong because there's no proof, but I believe what they do is either get 1 game away from promotion, or they're already in Master 1, play a few games until they get 1, 2, 3 wins, save the replays and say, Master 1 deck. I don't believe it. I'm authentic. When I'm in Master rank, whatever deck I want to get to as high as possible, if it's to Master 1, I will use that deck. When I'm in Diamond, I will use the deck that I want to get to Master rank as much as possible. Maybe on stream I might switch a deck here and there for fun, but majority of the time, 80-90% will be the deck to get into Master rank. The 4 wins, all in ranked, going second, going second, going first, going first. So that's my proof. Sprite, Snake Eyes, Kashtira, Stun, oh man, and Melosh. Oh, bro, I can't even say the deck's name. Melosius or bro, I can't remember. Where's it? But this deck. All right, no more talking. Let's just get straight into it. I hope we can start. If not, please open up with some good hand traps. Let's make this video even more epic, getting to Master 1. Or let my opponent break. Give me some good hand traps. Come on. I've got a bad track record of winning my first promoting match. We got a Veiler and we got an Impulse. That also can turn into Preventer. So this isn't bad at all. Okay. We Veilered. No, we'll Impulse first. And then Veiler. But I don't think they're going to special summon again. But still, let's just do it. Because it's for Preventer as well. And maybe we can bait out like an Ashore and Cooled by. Oh, okay, we baited out the Ash. Okay, whew, I got scared. Oh. Okay, if we can draw an Ash next turn, that would be amazing. It would truly be amazing. So they've got pretty much 1 pop. Okay. And big welcome labyrinth. So that just sets itself. Oh my gosh. What a top deck. Bro, I think we win. We can't lose. We can't lose. Master 1 incoming. Unless they have Nibiru, I'm crying. We've got Cooled by. We win. We 100% win. Oh my gosh, we win. Oh my gosh, we win. Bro, that is the top deck of top decks. Right, just don't misplay. I can't get too nervous, bro. Like, now my heart's starting to get there. It's like, don't fucking misplay. I just did the 1-card starter for the thingy. Not today, you absolute bum. Surrender. Surrender right now. You know you've lost. You have 100% lost. You can't win. At this point, you can't win. Just surrender. Surrender. Okay, they don't want to surrender yet. We got called by. What did I say? Surrender. You know what? Let's not get too gassed. We knew we were getting promoted to Master 1. We knew it because it's Rescue Ace. 7-win streak, Master 3 to Master Duel to Master 1. And the perfect ending for this video. I love it. I'm so happy. Oh, and it was against Labyrinth. I hate them so much. I can't be too loud. Let me hold the mic because my baby's sleeping. There we go. Highest ranked in this deck profile. I love it so much. Just showed you the replays. In Master 2, we went second twice, now 3 times, and first twice. That is another pro. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. And it was on the last stream I did. My going second record was better than my going first. I don't know how. It just was for some reason. Maybe it was just that day. But the pro is, it's a very good going second deck as well. Another pro I forgot, we can play through so many interruptions. If you open up with like 2-3 extenders, or even just let's say 1 or 2 extenders and a 1-card starter, you can play through many interruptions. I'm confident even if we didn't draw Ash, we would have still won. But yes, enough chitter chatter. This video is going to be extremely long, but it's going to be worth it for anyone who wants to play this deck. I truly will recommend this to anyone. As I said, Burning Abyss has been my favorite deck for a long time, since it came out. But honestly, this deck could be equal to it now. As I said in the beginning, I love the playstyle, I love the artwork, I love the lore. It's just a deck that I really enjoy playing. It's so fun. It's a fantastic deck. So I would recommend anyone who's looking for a fun deck that isn't a tier 1 deck or even tier 2, play Rescue Ace. Or don't, because if you play it, this deck may get hit. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I would appreciate a thumbs up. And as mentioned, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel. With that all being said, the firefighters have done their duty. Now it's time to have some rest, because we are on Master 1. Slouser is outer.